Aloha and welcome to Action Island. I am Gilles, and we are back for Thursday night football between the Dolphins and Bills. On Monday, we got our first parlay hit of the season, guys. 16 to 1 parlay for Raiders Chargers. So if you hit on that parlay and you cash with us, give us a like or comment in the chat. I feel like it's the least you could do. As always, I am joined by Sean Kerner, Nick Giffen, and Grant Neefer for Thursday Night Football. And the four of us are going to give our two picks for tonight's matchup. Here's how it works. We'll each have two picks, then we're going to vote on those picks. By the end of the show, we'll have a nice four-leg same game parlay for you. And as always, if you're watching this show on YouTube, in the YouTube chat, all of our picks, we're going to be dropping links in the chat that'll help you quickly get those bets. Since the lines, they could move fast. We want to make sure you get the best prices and the best numbers. So use those links and thank us later. So Grant, you're up first, man. And first off, I wanted to congratulate you on your Monday Night Football anytime touchdown sweep. So good job as always. What two props are you looking for Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, thanks, Gilles. First one I got up. This is going to be an ugly game, but there's always money to be had in ugly games. And first one I got is Kincaid over 32 and a half receiving yards. I got this at 29 and a half. It's all over the place. I think that you can still find it at 32 and a half. I would hit it all the way up to 34 and a half. Kincaid been used heavily, even though he's not getting a ton of snaps, although it's tough to go off of last week. Obviously, with the blowout, he only got 51%, but most of the guys in the receiving room did not get over 50% of snaps. So he still should be playing a decent amount of time. Yes, they're throwing in Knox in there, but they're throwing the ball to him a decent amount. He's got some decent numbers so far this season. Hit the over in both of his first two games, going up against the Dolphins pass D that is kind of hot garbage at the moment. Blitzing at a high rate and still not getting pressured. Josh Allen should be able to do whatever he wants, although Thursday Night Football, anything can happen. But overall, I had him projected for close to 40 receiving yards in this spot here. So getting him at 32 and a half offers some decent value. The second pick I have, way more of a long shot. I got it at plus 900. You can still find it some spots at plus 900, but still at 700 to 750 in different spots. Nick Westbrook-Akine for a TD. Can't believe we're getting a dude who scored 9 touchdowns last season at plus 900 when the wide receiver number 2 is injured right now. He might not play. We still don't know what's going to happen with Waddle. Waddle is probably going to be a game time decision. He's going to test things out beforehand. But even if he isn't there, I don't know if he's going to play a full complement of snaps. Could be in for more Westbrook-Akine snaps in this game here. He didn't play a ton last week. Played close to 50% in the first week. He's a guy that just, I know that you can't quantify this, but he has a nose for the end zone. Over the years, huge touchdown to reception rate, huge amount of touchdowns for how many games he's played. The guy is just an absolute beast at somehow finding the end zone. But even if that weren't the case, the numbers still don't fully line up here to have him at plus 750, plus 900 at the moment, considering how good he's been in recent years at scoring. So given Waddle, if he's out, then this will probably drop all the way down to like plus 450, plus 500, which probably will still be value. And if Waddle is playing, then plus 750, plus 900 is probably still a bit too low here. So everything pointing towards this being a massive value spot here on Westbrook-Akine to score a touchdown.
Grant, I got to give you credit to give Nick Westbrook-Akine on this show at plus 750. He was my anytime touchdown MVP of last season. Like you said, 9 touchdowns. He would have won like 51 units in profit if you had just blindly tailed and bet him in every game last year. And then, of course, Dalton Kincaid, you laid out the case. Very good matchup for him against this Dolphins secondary. So, Nick, Sean, we got to take a vote. Are we going to vote for Dalton Kincaid over 32 and a half receiving yards or Nick Westbrook-Akine anytime touchdown at plus 750? Let's vote. All right, gentlemen, did we vote for Dalton Kincaid or are we going to take chaos and take this anytime touchdown at plus 750? I voted for chaos. What did you guys do?
Nick did
Uh,
not vote for Nick.
okay, Kincaid. All right, so we are going to keep it safe, I guess, with the Dalton Kincaid over on receiving yards. We just dropped the link in the YouTube chat so you could tail either of those bets, or the Westbrook-Akine touchdown bet or Dalton Kincaid. But Kincaid will be the first leg of this four-leg same game parlay. So now we are on to the odds maker, Sean Kerner. Sean, you have two bets that you like for Thursday Night Football. What do you like?
Yeah, so the first one's Ray Davis over 23 and a half rushing yards. I locked this in at 21 and a half yesterday. Still like it here at 23 and a half, but the Bills are big favorites tonight, 11 and a half point favorites. As Grant mentioned, it's Thursday night football. Anything can happen, but assuming that line is sharp, the Bills are at least projected to play with an 8+ point lead. More so than most games for them, even though they're a team that routinely wins by 2+ scores. They won 9 games last year by 2+ scores. But those are exactly the type of game scripts where Ray Davis specifically thrives. Because, in the second half, when they're way more run heavy, they want to give James Cook a break. So they just, Ray Davis is the closer. They give him way more work. He actually saw his rush attempt share go from 24% in neutral game scripts all the way up to 38% when they're up by 2+ scores. So again, this sets up perfectly for him. I'm projecting around 7.1 rush attempts, have this median closer to 25 and a half, but how I arrived there was fairly conservative. So I think he has upside for even more. I would take over 25 and a half. And then next up, kind of
Mhm.
in line with that, I like the second half under 24 and a half. I think getting the 24 and a half is a key number, so I like it way more at 24 and a half. But, this is a mild luck under, which I think Nick will discuss. So already kind of like the under because of that. But I think we could see two different halves here, where the first half, I don't think this Dolphins defense is going to be able to slow down Josh Allen or the Bills offense when they're, more balanced and he's throwing it downfield, and maybe using his legs more. But once they get to the second half, if they do have a bigger lead, having a ton of Ray Davis carries is not good for the over. So um, I think, the Bills will, take the foot off the gas in the second half. And then on the Dolphins side, same thing. I think the first half, they'll probably surprise people. I think this offense played well last week. And when, they're in a more balanced approach in the first half, I think they'll be able to put up some points, especially with Ed Oliver, Matt Milano are both ruled out. Teron Johnson is questionable. So the Bills are missing key players on defense. However, in the second half, if the Bills are up big, this offense, when it's one dimensional, is way easier to stop. Tua has taken so many sacks this year. He's been sacked on 44% of his pressures this year. So that's something that could come up more in the second half when they're more, one dimensional. So I think the second half will be the lower scoring half. So I like the second half under 24 and a half here.
See, I thought you were going to maybe look at a Ty Johnson prop. I know he's one of your top guys, but then even looking at the touchdown odds, it feels like they kind of already started to factor this in too, that he might get a little extra work because I'm seeing like 4-1 for him, where typically, we're seeing like 8-1, 7-1 in those kind of trailing game scripts for the Bills. But I think you
Yeah.
laid it out that in this instance, that's probably not going to be the case. And if they're ahead, it's Ray Davis that we
Yeah.
want to pivot to here in this spot. So I like that you laid that out. And then, of course, the second half under, I think you made it a pretty good case here, especially with the fact that there is a little bit of luck rankings attached here. So, Nick, Grant, we got to take a vote. Are we going to vote for Ray Davis over 23 and a half rushing yards, or are we going to take the second half under at 24 and a half? Let's vote. All right, Grant, Nick, did we look at Ray Davis for this parlay, or are we going to take the second half under? I went with Ray Davis. I still like it at 23 and a half. I know we locked in it at 21 and a half, but Ray or Nick, is that a vote or is that just a shoulder shrug? Like,
I'm,
what
I'm
are we
fine with
doing?
either one. They're both
Okay.
good.
All
Whatever
right.
bet
So,
on here is good.
okay. All right, so Ray Davis is going to be the second leg of the same game parlay over 23 and a half rushing yards. Please shop around because I am seeing it at some spots as well right now at 25 and a half. But we did just drop a quick slip link in the chat so you could tail that and grab those odds as soon as possible because they will probably move. All right, so that's two legs of the same game parlay. Before we get to Nick Giffen, first up, if you want access to all of Action Pro projections, make sure to sign up for an annual subscription to Action Pro. Access includes exclusive player prop picks from Sean Kerner and other members of the Action Analytics team, along with their anytime touchdown projections. You'll also get access to our best spread, money line, and total bets, along with real ticket and money percentages. To sign up, visit actionnetwork.com/pro today and use code Island20 at sign up. One more time, that's Island20 at sign up for $20 off. Okay, Nick Giffen, it is your turn, and I believe we are in week 3 now, so we have started to maybe look at luck ranking totals. Am I wrong on that?
You are absolutely correct on that. We luck totals kick in week 3, and this game is a luck under. It's a mild luck under. We now have it's not mild, medium, and spicy, but we have mild and spicy luck unders. And so this one has a luck total of minus 1.67. We've changed again how we're scoring things as far as luck totals. So minus 1.67 no longer means 1.67 points, but 1.67 standard deviations below neutral here for this time of year, which puts us again in that mild luck under category. We'd need, I think it's minus 1.8 to hit the spicy luck under. But Buffalo, they scored 71 points in their first 2 games, but their expected score was just 62.3 points, and Miami's defense allowed 66 versus 51.3 expected. And again, this is adjusting for quality of offense, adjusting for quality of defense. So these things do regress towards these expectations. You might say, oh, well, it's Josh Allen. He's always going to come in above expectation. No, this is adjusted for Josh Allen's expectation, right? So that's the whole point of these expected scores. So really a lot of this luck under comes from the Buffalo side of the ball. And if Miami was smart, which is a big if, they'd play a low rate of man coverage versus Josh Allen. I'm expecting sub 25% man coverage versus Josh Allen. Now, it remains to be seen if Miami actually does that. But when you look at Josh Allen's expected score since the beginning of 2023, the baseline is a 23-ish points expected score, right? Like on average, Josh Allen's going to have a minimum of, if he faced 0% man, he would have 23 expected score against an average defense. And for every 7.5% man coverage the opponent plays, you can add a point to that. So if Miami's going to play around 23, 24% man coverage and stay under that 25% threshold, I get to about 26 expected score versus an average defense. Since Miami defenses suck, give one possession of scoring more. Sometimes it's a field goal, sometimes it's a touchdown. So let's add 4.5 points there, which gets us to 30.5. But Buffalo's team total is 31 juiced to the over. So I just can't get there on the over on Buffalo's side. And that's where most of this scoring is going to come from. Also, Josh Allen is just 1-5 against the spread when he faces a below average man coverage defense after facing 2 or more consecutive above average man defenses. And in weeks 1 and 2, he faced above average man defenses and now should be facing a below average man defense.
All right, so we're looking at the luck rankings under 50.5 for this game. I had to even just double check the lines for this week because I wasn't sure if it was the highest total of the week. That's actually Monday Night Football for the Lions Ravens right now at 53. But right now we are considering an under 50.5 for this game. You have another prop that you like for this game. What do you like?
Yeah, this one's less math intensive. Hey, I'm a predictive analyst. I gotta get my math nerd in there sometimes. But this one's Josh Allen under 6.5 rushing attempts. You can get that minus 114 at FanDuel. There's a minus 117, minus 118, minus 120s out there. I like all those. Miami doesn't get pressure, as Grant talked about. They blitz, but they don't really get pressure. It's below 20% so far this year and was basically 20% last year. Josh Allen scrambles 10% more, 11% more against pressure. So he's not going to be scrambling. He scrambles just under 4% of the time when there's no pressure. And as huge favorites, Buffalo doesn't really need to design a whole bunch of runs for Josh Allen. They can rely on their running backs here. We saw this last year. Josh Allen had 4 total rushes in 2 games against Miami, 2 in each game. And you're like, okay, well, they're huge favorites. Josh Allen, he's going to get some attempts just from kneel downs. But in the blowouts, Mitch Trubisky takes the kneel downs. Mitch Trubisky last year took kneel downs on 6 of Buffalo's 13 wins, all in blowouts. So I actually love this backup QB angle here. If it's a blowout, we're getting Mitch Trubisky. Josh Allen isn't getting BS rush attempts from the kneel downs.
The Mitch Trubisky cap. I love it. And you know what I like about both is I feel like the game will go under if Mitch Trubisky's in the game too. So I feel like both of your bets kind of correlate in this spot. But all right, so Grant, Sean, we got to take a vote. Are we going to take the full game under of 50.5, or are we going to take Josh Allen to have 6 or less rush attempts? So under 6.5 rush attempts. So let's take a vote. Okay, Grant, Sean, I'm loyal to the luck rankings, so I voted for the luck rankings. What did you guys do? Allen under, both Allen. Okay, so Josh Allen, even though Sean does endorse an under 50 and a half, he is still more for this parlay. We're going to be taking Josh Allen under 6.5 rush attempts for this. So that's now three parlay legs we have in the books. We have Dalton Kincaid over on his receiving yards. We have Ray Davis over on his rushing yards. And we have Josh Allen under on his rushing attempts. Now, I've got a couple of anytime touchdowns that I like for this game, but before we round out the parlay, if you're on Twitter, we have a great new feature here at Action Network. It's called Playbook. So if you see a bet from any of your favorite action experts or any expert that you like on X or Twitter, you can now tag Playbook under their posts when they post their bets. Our AI bot will build you a bet slip at a sportsbook of your choice. It's that simple. You don't have to try and find what menu the bets are under or all the different parlay legs that come attached. Just use Playbook and build your bets the easy way and click on the link on Twitter and X. All right, guys, two touchdown props. We'll keep it nice and simple. First one on the Dolphins side, Devon Achane. Pretty chalky, but again, I feel like right now he's really the only Dolphin we can trust in this spot. As the running back, he leads the team in targets per route run, 2 receiving touchdowns this year after scoring 6 last year. And his touchdown per game rate is actually pretty impressive. 18 of 30 career regular season games, he has scored a touchdown. And he against the Bills in all 4 career games, he scored a touchdown as well. So with the Dolphins again being huge road dogs, Bills also showed a little bit of early struggles in stopping the run if we look to week 1 as well. So I like Achane to get another touchdown in this matchup. But on the Bills side, I locked this in last night. It's around plus 300 now. I still like it at anything over 3 to 1. And that's Josh Palmer with the Bills. So through 2 games, Palmer hasn't really been a huge fixture in the passing game. I don't know if he really had to be, but in this game, I think he's going to be used a little bit more because he leads the team in ADOT. He's playing all the 2 wide receiver sets on the outside, playing more snaps, for example, than Khalil Shakir. And the Dolphins through 2 weeks, 31st in defensive DVOA versus the pass, last versus the deep ball. I think that checks both boxes for Palmer. And going to be missing a couple starters in the secondary as well. And just looking at the touchdown odds in comparison, because Keon Coleman, I think, might have the better matchup, but he's around like plus 180 to score a touchdown, maybe 2 to 1 at best. So I just think given the snap rate, the route participation, the defensive matchup, there shouldn't be that much of a discrepancy. So I think Josh Palmer on the Bills side is who we should take for an anytime touchdown. So guys, we got to take a vote. How are we going to round out this parlay? Are we going to put Devon Achane for an anytime touchdown, or are we going to take Josh Palmer for an anytime touchdown? So let's take a vote.
Whoops. Give me a second here. Coming back in 3, 2, 1.
All right, guys, do we keep it chalky and classy and go with Devon Achane, or are we going to try to take Josh Palmer? Let's see the vote. So, Sean, you got Achane. That's a clean sweep for Devon Achane. Okay, so all 4 legs of this parlay are locked in now. So now we have Dalton Kincaid over on his receiving yards from Grant Neefer. We have over on Ray Davis's rushing yards. That's from Sean Kerner. And we have Josh Allen under on his rushing attempts. Finally, we have Devon Achane. That is my touchdown prop. You put all of those together, that's 11 plus 1150 right now at Bet365. We just dropped a link in the YouTube chat if you want to tail this parlay. Grant, I wanted to come to you and ask you this question about this parlay because I find a lot of the time you found some really good plus EV or even correlation. What do you think of this parlay, the 4 legs that we have together for tonight at plus 1150?
I mean, yeah, it's a little bit interesting because I mean, Achan is not really going to eat into anything because he's kind of game script proof. So a lot of times odds will be a little bit negatively correlated because of running backs not really running in the fourth quarter. But Achan, he's going to be running routes the entire day. I think he's leading the team in targets so far this season. So even in a scenario where Kincaid goes over, we're playing the blowout thing so that Allen's not in there, it still lines up for Achan to score a TD. And then Davis, obviously, everything kind of correlates to a overall blowout by the Bills. But Achan even still correlates, even though he's a running back on the opposing team that's getting blown out because of his wide or of his receiving game usage.
For sure. Yeah. And Sean, before we go, I'll ask you as well, because you were on the second half under, but you also did like the full game under as well. So I guess what I'm wondering is, from a scoring standpoint, do you think it'll be difficult for maybe the Dolphins to even get some touchdowns against this defense?
No, like I said, I think the first half, when they're a little bit more balanced, they can, run HN as well, and sell play action better. I think they'll be sneaky good, and Bills are down 2 to 3 key defensive players. But I think the second half, when, the Bills will likely be up by 1 to 2 scores, I think it's going to be easier to stop them. Like I said, he's been taking way too many sacks this year, so. And we need to see what's up with Jalen Waddle. Like, if he doesn't suit up, that's going to be a massive blow to the offense as well.
All right, Nick, before we get out of here, any good vibes to leave for the crowd before we go?
No BS kneel downs.
No BS kneel downs. I'm with you. Mitch Trubisky in the fourth quarter
Yeah.
is exactly what we
If we
want
see
here.
Mitch,
Just
we're
hand
doing
it to
well.
Ray Davis. Just
Yeah,
hand it
just
to Ray
hand it to
Davis.
Ray.
He'll rack up those 2 yard carries.
Hand it to Ray.
Won't
let
fumble.
let Mitch kneel it down, and then it just comes down to an HN TD and Dalton getting his yards.
All right. Let's recap this parlay one more time before we get out of here. Dalton Kincaid over on his receiving yards, over on Ray Davis's rushing yards, under on Josh Allen rush attempts, and Devon Achane for an anytime touchdown. That's at plus 1150 right now at Bet365. So that is all for us. Actually, Sean, you and I will be back here on the Action Network YouTube channel for the Touchdown Show podcast. That's going to drop tomorrow morning. And then Nick and Grant, you're going to be live at halftime, I believe, in the Action Network Discord for Bet What Happens Live for Thursday Night Football. So we still got some work to do tonight. But yes, on behalf of Nick Giffen, Sean Kerner, Grant Neefer, I'm Gilles Gallant. Aloha and bon chance.